We're ready to really dig into some fleet mechanic interview prep. We're going deep on Indeed.com's guide today.
Sounds good.
And this is more than just like your basic oil change. We're talking about the kind of stuff that really makes you stand out.
Yeah, what's interesting about these interviews for fleet mechanics, they're not just looking for someone who can, turn a wrench.
Right.
They want someone who really understands the impact of downtime. Like when a vehicle's out of commission, what does that actually mean for the whole operation?
Okay, so that makes sense. But what does fleet operations really mean in this context? It sounds kind of vague.
It's all about the bigger picture. So we're talking logistics, or we're talking scheduling, we're even talking about budgeting and safety.
I see.
It's understanding that a breakdown isn't just a mechanical issue. It throws a wrench in the whole system.
So minimizing downtime is key then.
Right.
Because if a truck is stuck in the shop, that's lost revenue.
Oh, absolutely.
Ah.
And it's a headache for everybody involved. In fact, Indeed's guide actually mentioned this study by the American Transportation Research Institute. And get this. The average cost of downtime for just one truck is over $760 per day.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, it's not just about fixing a truck. It's about being that reliable mechanic, the one they can count on.
Exactly. Reliability is huge because it directly impacts the bottom line.
So how do you suggest someone really showcase that dependability in an interview? How do you get that across?
You've got to frame your experiences the right way. So instead of just listing off the places you work, you need to come ready with specific examples.
Okay.
And these examples should really highlight your problem-solving skills and your I-can-do attitude.
Oh, so it's kind of like that time you figured out that crazy electrical problem. Everyone was stumped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly like that. Something where you had to really think outside the box. You walk them through how you approached the problem, what tools you used, and of course, how you ultimately found the solution.
And speaking of tools, the guide also really stressed knowing your way around the latest diagnostic tech.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's one thing to say you can handle technology, but it's another to show them, your stuff.
Yeah. Right.
So be prepared to talk about your experience with things like OBD scanners, multimeters, engine analyzers.
The whole 9 yards.
Exactly. You got to speak their language.
It's true what they say. It's a digital world, even under the hood these days.
That's right. But it's not all about the tech. The guide made a really good point about communication being super important, too.
Yeah, they talked about that a lot. Why is communication so important for a fleet mechanic?
Well, think about it. You're dealing with these complex mechanical problems, but you also need to be able to explain them to people who don't. People who aren't mechanics.
Right. So you have to be able to translate engine into something everyone can understand.
Exactly. You have to explain the problem clearly, what the solution is, and how it's going to impact the fleet if they don't fix it.
And I'm guessing that's where those curveball interview questions come in, to see how you think on your feet.
You got it. They want to see you apply your knowledge to a real-world situation.
Like, what kind of curveball questions are we talking about here? Give me an example.
Okay, so imagine they say, you've got 3 vehicles down at the same time. A delivery truck just blew a tire, a company car has some weird electrical issue, and the CEO's car needs an oil change. How do you decide what to work on first?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's no easy answer, is there?
Right, they want to see how you think. You could say something like, well, the delivery truck is definitely the biggest problem for operations right now.
But the CEO needs their car to get to that big meeting.
Exactly. It's all about weighing those priorities and making a judgment call in the moment.
I bet they ask about disagreements, too. Like, how do you handle it when you and another mechanic don't see eye to eye?
Oh, definitely. They want to know you can work on a team. So have an example ready. Maybe a time when you disagreed about the best way to do a repair. The key is to show you listen to the other person.
And found a solution that worked for everyone. It's about more than just the vehicles, right? It's about the people, too.
100%. And speaking of keeping things moving forward, don't forget about continuous learning. The guide really emphasized that.
Yeah, because things change so fast in this industry. Imagine interviewing a mechanic who's still talking about carburetors.
Right. Nobody wants to hear that anymore. So
Yeah.
you really want to show the interviewer that you're keeping up with the latest technology.
So should you mention any industry publications you read? Or like online forums where you learn about the new stuff?
Yes. Show them you're genuinely interested. And don't forget about those electric vehicle repair certifications. Those are becoming more and more important.
You could even say something like, I'm really interested in the challenges and opportunities that EVs are bringing to the field.
Perfect. It shows you're thinking ahead, and that's what they want to see. And that leads right into career growth. The guide mentioned things like certifications and mentorship.
Yeah, those aren't just buzzwords, are they? They're actually important for moving up in your career.
Exactly. If you're just starting out, you can talk about how you're eager to learn from more experienced mechanics. And if you've got some experience under your belt, you can talk about mentoring others. It shows leadership.
Okay, so to wrap things up, feeling ready to ace that fleet mechanic interview. Just remember, it's not enough to just be good with your hands. You need to be a problem solver, a communicator, and someone who's always learning. Show them you've got what it takes to keep those fleets running smoothly and efficiently.
And never stop being curious. The more you learn, the more valuable you become in this field. So here's something to think about. What part of fleet mechanics really excites you right now? That passion and curiosity could be your ticket to an amazing career.